This is my Tesla Model 3 Bruce.
Hello.
And this is me every day trying not to buy the new version. In an effort to convince myself I don't need a new car, I've compiled a very convincing list of items that I would absolutely miss if I was to crack and give in to that little bastard high-fiving hedgehog.
Yippee, you just bought a Tesla that you can't afford, fool!
Number 1, acceleration. There was no doubt in my mind that after test driving the new Model 3 rear-wheel drive that it was a tad slower, less punchy than my own Model 3 Standard Range Plus. However, after recently measuring my 0 to 60 to be 5.99 seconds and Tesla claiming that the new one can do it in 5.8 seconds, I must clearly be mistaken. Could it be that the massive improvements in comfort, ride quality and soundproofing simply hide the performance better? Yes, I think that's most likely the case. So whilst I won't be able to miss the acceleration of my car, as it isn't quicker after all, I will miss the feeling of better acceleration even though it isn't any quicker. And I hope that makes sense in some dimension. Now the next one I know my whole family will miss. Number 2, his face. We can't all be blessed with nice faces, can we? So too for cars. I don't dislike it, but there is a hint of frog in there, isn't there? Thanks to these slightly bulgy-eyed lights. Having a number plate breaks up that blank-mouthed expression quite nicely, doesn't it? But for me, these new look lights and front end is way slicker and sportier for my taste. Perhaps we're all getting used to having no grills by now. Unless you're BMW, of course, who just can't let go of grills like some kind of rampant crazed barbecue addict. Weird. After years of family adventures displaying Bruce at Tesla owners' stands at fully charged events and even sleeping in it at Supercharged last year, if we were to swap him for a new one, I'd be reminded every time I listened to the delightful lyrics by Guy Garvey of Elbow. I wish you stupid face. Number 3, boot lid height. Straight up a bonus of having an original boot lid that isn't powered is the fact that it opens higher, so you can't crack your head on it every time you load something in it. And as travelling wedding musicians, my wife and I use the boot a lot. All Model 3s, since receiving a powered boot, and most other cars to be fair, don't seem to open as far as they should in my humble opinion. Just get it out the way. I did ask in the showroom if it could be adjusted, but unfortunately not, unless I wanted to go to the trouble of redesigning and retrofitting some sort of extra long erection devices. I'll probably learn to live with it once I've cracked my head on it a few times. It's a good job I've got all this hair to cushion the blow, innit? Number 4, wheels. Okay, awkward confession to make, especially as I know most folks who watch this will own a Tesla already. But here's a word of warning. It's okay to be offended, nothing actually happens apart from feeling offended, which shouldn't matter when compared to life's real problems. But here goes. I don't like any Tesla wheels other than these ones. And I really don't like the slightly similar but squared off a bit round the edges wheels either. I'm not even convinced I like these new ones too. I don't know, I just have a feeling better design wheels could exist. Obviously, these are a little more expensive over on the electric Porsche Taycan configurator, but it's nice to have a choice of relatively aerodynamic alloy wheels, especially these ones. They're lovely. Look at that. Oh, and these, although I don't suppose aerodynamics takes relevance over style here. Anyway, back to Tesla. Despite the rim damage that may or may not have been caused by my wife, I think these look rather nice and will be missed whichever wheel choice I go for in the future. Let me know in the comments below what do you think about Tesla's wheels. Am I bang out of order here by suggesting they should have like more options and nicer versions? Number 5, indicators. I'm not going to really know if I miss these old classic car stalks sticking out of the steering column like some 1939 Buick until I've lived without them, I guess. The Buick being the first car to include indicators, by the way. Oh yes, I'm educational too. I got on really well with these buttons on my test drive and thought it seemed way cooler without stalks, to be honest, and very much like game controller buttons that move with you. There's plenty of folks out there saying they don't miss them one bit and even prefer having indicator buttons on the steering wheel. Or I may be cursing Mr. The Best Part Is No Part as I attempt to indicate my way around every future roundabout. We shall see. Number 6, Made in America. Like the USA-built Stratocaster or a good old hamburger, some things that come from America just have an aura of greatness about them. Not everything, obviously. And that's exactly how I feel about my Made in America Tesla. Just knowing that my Model 3 was built in the Fremont factory in California, the mecca of car factories, the very place that all Teslas were built before Shanghai and other factories came along. I don't know, I get a bit of a fuzzy feeling just knowing that mine's an American-made, very early right-hand drive model and one of the very first to arrive in the UK. A piece of history even, as despite the odds of success stacked against them, Tesla managed to mass produce the Model 3 and eventually turn a profit once it hit production volume. It was during this production hell time that Elon Musk literally slept on the factory floor under his desk so that people could see him when they came to the office during shift changes. It was this dedication from Elon and Tesla employees who pushed through 3 years of production hell to make this thing a reality that allowed Tesla to thrive and survive and become what it is today. There's no doubt about it, the global leaders in electric vehicles. Sure, if I bought a new car from Tesla today, it'd come from Giga Shanghai in China, where they are building Teslas with immaculate precision, as are all Tesla factories nowadays, to be fair. Long gone are the panel gap issues of this sexy bunch. And yes, there are a few issues with early Cybertrucks, which is totally to be expected during a complex ramp of an entirely new production material and method. But no doubt, Cybertrucks will quickly reach industry standards too, with a bit of time. Number 7, I'm going to miss fog lights. But not for the reason you'd expect. Fog? No. I think I've only turned them on once in almost 5 years, so hardly essential to the functionality of a car, are they? Even in the miserable, bleak winters of England. Plus, headlights are so good nowadays. What's the point of fog lights again? Aesthetics? No, tell me the front end of this doesn't look utterly stunning, even without fog lights. Come on, it's beautiful with just a hint of roadster. And if you don't agree with me, the reason I miss fog lights is it's 2 less light clusters that can do this. Tesla light shows. Some might say this is simply a gimmick or the equivalent of programming a bunch of washing machines to do a light show. But no, it's more than that. When you stood in front of dozens, if not hundreds of Teslas in the dark, performing a bespoke, carefully pre-programmed light show with music blasting and lights mesmerising, it's kind of hypnotic. Don't knock it till you've seen it. And the best bit, it brings people together, families and kids and grown adults too. Can't help but smile. And it just spreads a little more joy to the world, doesn't it? It's a bit like a great fireworks display to music, only a Tesla light show doesn't terrify animals, risk blinding bystanders, or involve things that explode. Oh, it's funny because we weren't there. Whew! This is a very long-winded way of saying those little fog lights will be missed in future Tesla light shows. Might Simon from Tesla Light Shows be the only person on Earth that took a look at the new Tesla Model 3 and reacted like this? No, God! Check out Simon's epic work on YouTube at Tesla Light Shows. Number 8, phone flap cover. And I know this flappy phone cover thing hasn't been on Model 3s for a while now, thanks to being removed in the earlier updates. But I like it. It keeps your phone hidden away where it's not distracting when you're driving and adds to that nice clutter-free interior. Sure, I forget it's there sometimes and leave the car without it, go shopping, can't pay for anything and have a meltdown in the shop and storm back to the stupid car to get my phone. But when it is put away in there, it's tidy, neat and clutter-free, like my own head. I didn't know I could love a car as much as this, to be honest. I know it's just a blob of metal with some clever software, but there's something about Teslas, and most certainly something about Bruce, that just makes him part of the family now. Or am I insane? That might also be the case. Will any of these things really be missed? The new Tesla Model 3 gains so much more over mine. Way more range, better looks inside and out, greater refinement, ride quality, handling, creature comforts such as ventilated seats, that rear screen for the kids, the nicest ambient lighting I've seen in a car. I mean, it's not like upgrading your iPhone to the newest version where you have to play spot the difference. There's an enormous leap from mine to a current Model 3. Would I have time to miss all these things with all the new gains of a new one? For now, I'm just going to stop thinking about upgrading mine. Get that high-fiving hedgehog out of my mind. He comes up when you order one, by the way. I'm going to get back to watching The Detectorists.
What's that? Porcupine?
Porcupine? Are you serious? It's a hedgehog.
I thought hedgehogs were flat.
The squash dead ones are flat, the live ones are spherical.
All right, Richard Attenborough.
It's David.
Oh, I'm sorry. Been calling you Andy.
White seats, eh? Ooh. Have you ever wondered which company holds the key to explosive growth, Apple or Tesla? I have, and made a barely watched video about it, so feel free to click it next and learn the secret that nobody knows about regarding Tesla dominating the future. Do like and subscribe, and a sincere thanks to my Patreon supporters who are responsible for keeping me going through the darkness and unknowns of YouTube. Who'd have thought it ain't easy? I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.